All right, welcome everyone to the deep dive. You've given us quite a mix of sources today. It looks like mainly news headlines, and an article snapshot from CoinMarketCap, all dated June 6th, 2025.
That's right. And our plan, as usual, is to sift through this, pull out what really matters, maybe find some surprising connections.
Yeah, basically get a sense of what these specific pieces are telling us about the crypto and blockchain world just on this one day, June 6th.
Exactly. And it's quite the snapshot. We've got a pretty serious security warning,
Hmm.
some market news, a big technical milestone for Bitcoin, even how some, well, outside events are reportedly shaking things up.
A real grab bag. It shows just how many different things are happening all at once in this space.
It really does, a lot of facets.
Okay, so let's dive in. Right at the top here, this alert definitely catches the eye. Multiple warnings flagged. It's titled Lazarus Group Alert. Dangerous OtterCookie Malware Threat Exposed.
Yes, this one's a guest post, looks like by It's Bitcoin World on the platform. And it's flagging a specific risk, this OtterCookie malware, tied to the Lazarus group.
Okay, Lazarus Group. That's a name we unfortunately hear quite a bit. State-sponsored hackers, often targeting crypto.
Very notorious, yeah. And OtterCookie is supposedly their latest tool in this instance.
So what's the significance of a platform like CoinMarketCap highlighting this specific malware alert? It seems quite granular.
Well, I think it shows a couple of things. First, the maturity, maybe, of the threats. They're getting more sophisticated, more targeted. And second, it underscores that security isn't just, a generic be careful anymore. It's about knowing the specific tactics, the specific malware strains that known groups like Lazarus are using.
So it's moving beyond general warnings to actionable intelligence almost.
Kind of. It's a reminder that you need to be aware of these identified advanced threats. The fact it's featured so prominently says a lot about the ongoing risks. Still a bit of a digital Wild West out there.
Definitely a dose of reality. Okay, let's pivot from security to the markets then, because there are some interesting headlines here too. One about Circle.
Ah, yes, I see that one. Why not to buy Circle CRCL stock despite 168% pop on debut? Analyst explains.
Right, that's quite the headline. You've got this huge debut pop for Circle EO. I mean, 168%, that's massive. There's suddenly a big public tech player in the stablecoin
Web
space.
splash.
But then immediately someone's saying, hold on, don't buy it. It's like whiplash. What's the story behind that contrast?
Well, that's what's so interesting, right? You have this explosive market reaction. Maybe it's hype, maybe it's genuine institutional interest in a regulated player finally going public. Hard to say from just this. But then right alongside it, you have this analyst pumping the brakes, offering a more cautious view, maybe looking longer term, saying the initial stage doesn't justify the price.
So it perfectly captures that tension.
Yeah.
Short-term market excitement versus, well, longer-term financial analysis.
Exactly. It shows how traditional stock analysis frameworks are being applied here, reminding you that a big pop on day one doesn't always mean smooth sailing ahead, at least according to this analyst.
Yeah, that's a sharp contrast baked right into the headline. Okay, moving from a big name like Circle to some specific assets mentioned. I see Compound, COMP, and something called Skate.
Yes, two different stories there, it seems. For Compound, the headline is about a technical breakout. Compound, COMP, breaks key resistance, eyes $61 target. It mentions it broke above a trend line it followed for months.
Okay, so a technical analysis angle, trend lines, resistance levels. Breaking those is usually seen as a bullish signal by chartists, right?
That's the idea. The source notes a 14.7% rise in 24 hours, breaking that key resistance. So for CompMP, the focus here is purely on the chart, the price action itself suggesting upward momentum.
And Skate, what's the narrative there?
Yeah.
It says it's a new altcoin multi-VM blockchain.
Right, but the headline isn't really about the tech, it's about an event. It mentions its upcoming listing on Binance Alpha and Binance Futures.
The Binance effect.
Pretty much. The source says the price already soared 33% before the launch, just based on the announcement.
Okay, so that's classic anticipation driving the price.
Yeah.
People buying the rumor, essentially, before the token is even widely available on that major exchange.
Exactly. So you have CoMP, where the story is technical chart patterns internal to its price history, and then Skate, where the story is entirely about an external catalyst of the Binance listing news. Two very different drivers highlighted.
It does raise that question, doesn't it? For you listening, how much of these price moves, especially for newer coins like Skate, are based on the tech fundamentals, like this multi-VM thing they mentioned.
Which, by the way, that multi-VM capability, if it works well, could be significant. It means it could potentially run applications built for different blockchains, increasing its flexibility.
Right, so how much is that versus just the speculative buzz around getting listed on a huge exchange?
Yeah,
These headlines show both angles in play.
definitely something to consider.
Okay, let's shift gears again, away from markets, more towards the underlying tech. There's a Bitcoin milestone here.
Yes. Bitcoin hits historic milestone as block 900,000 is mined.
Block 900,000. It's just a number, but it feels significant, like a major odometer reading. What does that really represent?
Well, it's fundamentally a testament to Bitcoin's resilience, right? Its continuous operation, its security. Every single block, like this 900,000th one, is a batch of transactions successfully verified, added permanently to the ledger. Getting to such a high number it visualizes the sheer persistence of this decentralized network. It's been running nonstop for, what, over 15 years now?
Incredible, really. And the source mentions details about the block itself.
Yeah, it cites Bitcoin Magazine saying this specific block had 1,562 transactions, and the average fee rate was about 3 sat VB.
3 sat BB. That's relatively low, historically speaking, isn't it? For Bitcoin fees?
Generally, yes. It gives you a tiny snapshot of the network's activity and cost at that precise moment of the milestone. So longevity plus a glimpse of current usage.
Like counting the rings on a very secure, very digital tree.
Okay, another direction now. This headline looks completely different. AI and digital fashion. Legendary Humanity partners with hashkey groups Aeon to advance AI-driven digital fashion. Happened June 5th in Singapore, according to the source Chainwire.
AI-driven digital fashion. That sounds very cutting edge. What does that even mean in practice, potentially?
Well, it signals that these technologies, AI and blockchain, aren't just finance tools. They're bleeding into creative industries. You could imagine AI designing unique digital clothing, maybe patterns or styles impossible in the real world, and then blockchain could be used to prove ownership, track scarcity, authenticate those digital items.
So verifiable digital couture.
Potentially, yeah. This partnership suggests people are actively exploring these intersections. It's about building new possibilities in fields like fashion, even if it's just digital fashion for now. It shows innovation beyond the usual crypto applications.
Interesting to see that reported alongside market moves and security alerts. Shows the breadth. Okay, finally, there's one headline that seems less about crypto directly and more political.
This one. White House aides have reportedly asked Trump to tone down.
Okay, and how does this connect to crypto, according to the source?
Well, the source, Cryptopolitan News, claims that some kind of altercation between President Trump and Elon Musk apparently caused political unrest.
Right.
Which, according to them, sent markets into a bloodbath.
A bloodbath. That's strong language. So this specific source is drawing a direct line from a political spat involving these two figures to a major market downturn.
That's what this particular source claims, yes. We're
Yeah.
just relaying their report. It highlights a perspective you sometimes see that crypto markets aren't totally immune to external shocks, especially involving major public figures or perceived political instability.
It shows how narratives form, connecting broader world events or reported events to market sentiment in this space, at least from the viewpoint of this news outlet.
Exactly. It's a reminder that some market participants do watch these external factors closely.
Okay, wow. That was actually quite a journey through just, what, half a dozen headlines and alerts from a single day?
It really covers a lot of ground.
Yeah, we touched on, let's see, a specific malware threat from a major hacking group.
OtterCookie.
The contrast between a huge stock debut pop for Circle and analyst caution.
Right, that tension.
Then different drivers for crypto asset prices, technical breakouts for CMP, listing hype for Skate.
Two distinct examples there.
A major Bitcoin network milestone, block 900,000 showing longevity,
A steady heartbeat.
a glimpse into future applications with AI and digital fashion.
The innovative edge.
And finally, how one source reported a connection between external political drama and market turmoil.
Quite the mix. And it really drives home the value of looking at multiple sources, doesn't it? Like the platform itself often says, DYOR, do your own research.
Absolutely. No single headline gives you the full picture. You need that context, that variety of perspectives and events.
Seeing all these different forces, security risks, market speculation, technical progress, new use cases, even external political noise, according to some all colliding on the same day, it gives you a much richer sense of the ecosystem.
It really does. You see the tech marching forward with Bitcoin's milestone. You see the market's reactions, driven by charts or news or analyst takes, new ideas bubbling up like digital fashion, the persistent security threats, and this backdrop of wider world events potentially having an influence, or at least being reported as having one.
It's complex and incredibly dynamic.
So maybe the thought to leave you with is this. Looking at this diverse snapshot from just June 6th, which of these threads feels most important to you right now?
Yeah, is it the security angle, the market drivers, the quiet, steady tech progress, the new frontiers being explored, or how it all connects to the bigger world?
Which thread warrants more of your attention, more research?
Because seeing how quickly things evolve, how all these different factors intersect just on one day, it really says something about the nature of this whole space, doesn't it?
Something to definitely reflect on. Okay, that wraps up our deep dive into your sources for today.